Blacklock, Harlequins winger. You're watching the Women's Rugby Show.
Hello, and welcome back to the Women's Rugby Show. I'm Sam Byther, and today I'm bringing you something a little bit different. We're heading into a series of 10 videos reviewing each team's Allianz Premier 15 season. We're starting off today with Beth Blacklock from the DMP Durham Sharks. We've had Beth on recently on our very Northern Takeover video, where we spoke to herself and Laura Perrin from Sale. In these videos, we'll be asking each player from each team about how they felt their season went from a personal point of view, from a team point of view, some of their favourite games, their toughest games, their players of the season, both who they played with and who they played against, as well as looking ahead to next season as well. Maybe a little 3-word season review from each team as well. Before we get into the video, make sure you like this video on YouTube, subscribe to us on YouTube as well, as we aim to reach 1,000 subscribers. We're just 10 away now, so we're very nearly there. And also, check us out across all social medias as well. Have you done all that? Well, let's get into the video. First of all, thanks for joining us. How have you been? How are you since the season ended a couple of weeks ago?
Hi, yeah, I'm well. Just kind of getting past the season, making sure that we have some time off before we get ready for pre-season and things. Enjoying it whilst we got a break.
How do you feel, well, getting into the review in the season, how do you feel the season went kind of from a team point of view first and then from a personal point of view?
So in terms of as a team, it was a new team at the start of the season, new coaching, new management. And I think that as the season's gone on, the team's developed a lot more. The cohesion has really helped. I think it was quite hard at the start with COVID and things. So as those sorts of things lifted and after Christmas, we really started seeing some changes and some differences and the improvements that we were hoping to see coming into the games and things to get some better scores at the end. Personally, it's been a long season. A lot of defence, a lot of hitting on the body, but it was all good. I mean, you learn things every single game, and I came back, I had like a shoulder up in the summer, so it's kind of been just rehabbing, getting back into rugby and things. So it's always a good season, it's always fun to play. So
obviously we spoke to you right near the end of the season after the game against Bristol, and so my next question is actually what was your game of the season? So I presume that's going to be high up there on that.
I think Bristol definitely gets to be the game of the season. It was nice winning. I would say it probably would have been that, or the game before was Wasps. It was my first game back after an injury. So it was fun coming onto the pitch and seeing how much the team had improved in those 4 weeks that I had out.
Would either of them go down as your moment of the season as well, kind of like a specific moment?
I think moment of the season was probably our first try in the Bristol game that we got ahead. So I mean, I did score it, so it's also like a personal moment. But I'd say that was the first time this season that we've actually been ahead. But it was the mental switch, I think, in the girls that was really good to play with. The girls just going from having lost every single game to actually being like, no, we're going to get ahead and then we're going to stay ahead. So I think that was a good moment, because that was kind of where we saw that difference in the Sharks girls, and we saw that difference as a team. And it was kind of the first moment we actually got to mentally be like, actually, this is what we can do, kind of thing.
And obviously there's some world-class talents in the league across every team. So who's been your toughest game and also your toughest opponent this season?
I think they're two very different things. So the toughest game I'd say this season, I would have said was probably against Sale. I think because mentally going into that game, I think we thought there was going to be a bit more of a contest the first time. I didn't play in the second one. But actually, I thought that was quite a hard one to mentally get over and to work through. And I think the team mentally, we definitely had to work hard through that match. I think that the toughest opponent, though, I would say is Simi from Bristol. There are lots of people who run hard at you, but she hurts. Like I always make the argument of the bigger they are, the harder they fall. But gosh, she runs really hard, and no matter how hard you put your shoulder in, you're always the one who comes out with a sore shoulder.
From a DMP perspective, who would be your kind of player of the season? Someone who's shone above or potentially shone?
I think that's a hard one. I'd say from the forwards, someone who's really risen and become a leader is one of our newbies, Jess Visoy. Never pronounce the surname right. No one ever does. So still have no idea what it is. But she was new in this year. She's new at Durham University, actually. But she came in having not started probably a Prem game, and then at the end of it becoming one of the leaders on the pitch, and she really rose really well. And she's just a great mentor to a lot of players in terms of just the way that she acts, not necessarily in terms of age and things, obviously, but in terms of the way that she acts and approaches training, and was really solid every single game. I'd say that she would probably be my player of the season from Sharks.
Would there be someone kind of who hasn't really had many opportunities this year that you'd say someone to look out for next season?
I'd say there are a few players. I know our fullback Evie, who missed quite a few of the games at the start of the season because of Scotland things. She's on the board of the Scotland stuff. She's a good player to watch. She's very good at getting on that edge of the defence. But I'd say probably the most the future star would probably be Chloe Broom. She got a chance earlier in the year when George, our 9, got injured, and she started playing a few more games and things, but she's really improved this year, and you can see the pace that she's improved at this year. It amounts to a lot of potential for the future.
And looking kind of like the league as a wider perspective, obviously it's been a lot more competitive this season. Teams seem to be able to beat anyone. How important do you think that is for the game growing over the next couple of years?
I mean, I think it's massive. I know one of the big things this year was that getting rid of the development league was so that we could improve the competitiveness in the championship as well as in our league. I think it's huge for women's rugby, especially for English rugby, being able to bring up the competitiveness for the Premiership side, so that there's not as big a jump when you're trying to get into the international sides. I think it's proven in the fact that England's one of the best teams in the world. The setup that we have is huge, and making sure that every single game is competitive is a huge component in that. I know a lot of the teams like Exeter coming in, Sharks coming in, spreading out the geographic competition. It's huge for the women's game, and it's only going to bring it up.
Is it nice to see Sale there as well? Obviously, another northern side.
Yeah, it's nice. I still think it's hilarious there are 2 Sharks, but it's good seeing Sale, and it's good because it means that both of them have to make sure that they work on their program, because you can kind of move a lot better if you're in the north. So it just means that the competition is higher between both teams, but you have to make sure the program's there, which is one of the big things and one of the big differences between the north and the south in the past. So hopefully that'll also see that competition coming up.
And obviously lots of the games this season have been live streamed. How important do you think that is? Obviously the final as well on Sunday being on BT Sport as well.
It's huge. I mean, especially this year with COVID, with people being able to actually watch it, because in any of the past years, if it had been COVID and we hadn't had them streamed, a lot of people would have been buggered for watching and things. But it's huge because actually a lot of people do want to watch it, and so it's good actually being able to prove that with the numbers of people watching. Again, it's just the women's rugby. I went and watched the Wasps and Quins game last weekend, and it was so funny the amount of people that you bumped into, because it is a small world and it's such a lovely community. Being able to put all of those games on for show, everyone will want to watch it and everyone will be commenting on it and things. So I think it's such a huge thing, and just making sure that exposure is there, especially for young people watching.
Yeah, it was a good game as well, actually.
Yeah, it was a good game.
And looking ahead to next season, kind of what are your aspirations, both from personally and from a club perspective?
So personally, I'm finishing my degree this year, so I'm going to be looking to try and make rugby part-time as well as work, which is going to be a big thing, but personally is quite important to me. Obviously, only started rugby at uni, so having that outside of rugby career goal is something I've always had, and now I'm trying to figure out how to do both of them. I know personally I'd always love to play for England, so it's going to be trying to really push my rugby, push my physicality, my fitness and things, and just try and get myself into the best position to be selected for that, really.
And finally, before I let you get on with the rest of your day, what would be your 3-word season review for this season?
My 3-word season review would probably be contact, both literally and making sure that we do keep our space. Oh, that's hard. Heavy rugby season, because that was kind of one of the only things that people were able to do. And then I would say cohesive. I think it's one of the first times that I fully felt embraced in the Premiership, because again, it was such a big part of my life this season.
Yeah, brilliant. So Beth, thanks a lot for joining us. Great to chat to you as always, and enjoy the rest of your summer off before you get back into pre-season.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Hi, my name is Scarlett from DMP Sharks, and you've been watching the Women's Rugby Show.